tutorial, we will see a quick overview of two other plugins in the DEFlicker suite. We will see Time-Lapse and Auto Levels. Please watch the DEFlicker high-speed tutorial for information on high-speed and a quick overview of the DEFlicker issues in general. We will jump right in and see a few time-lapse clips that demonstrate the issue we have. As you can see, the lighting dramatically changes from frame to frame since these are taken over long periods of time. This is enhanced if you're outdoors and there are clouds or other objects that may be causing moving shadows. Illumination varies across areas of the image on a per-frame basis. Global color correction cannot address this issue since only parts of the image vary in illumination. Here we are in After Effects. We can add DEFlicker Timelapse to our footage and we'll see that Timelapse stabilizes the color across a sequence even when there is a lot of random movement. This is because of a new technique developed by revisionfx. Looking at the effect controls, the number you use in the time window where adjacent frames are compared makes a big difference if there are a lot of fluctuations from frame to frame. You can see just by default that the Time-Lapse plugin already stabilizes the color. We can start tweaking the controls to further customize our scene. Looking at the method to choose, there's a little description next to each one for a hint. 1 is best if the camera is static, 2 is best if the camera is panning, and 3 is best if there is a large depth of field. Each method uses different algorithms to achieve the best results. There are a couple ways we can use the Time-Lapse plugin. We may want to just remove some of the boiling look we're getting across the footage. In this case, we can adjust the time window. The next thing we may want to do is make the color level more constant throughout the sequence. Then we can set a global correction type. I'm choosing gain plus offset. For example, if we want to make the whole shot look a lot more sunny, we could go to a frame that's all sunny and select Press to Add. It creates a reference keyframe. We can turn the effect off for a minute and go back to a not so sunny frame and then turn the effect back on. You can see the difference. The global levels are now more constant. Taking this a little further, we may want to animate those global levels over time and start it darker, and at the end the overall color may be brighter or the other way around. All you need to do is animate between reference frames. We can set the reference frame to animate. Go to a dark keyframe and press to add. Then I can go to frame 0 and change the reference frame number to 113 because I know that's a brighter frame. And then I just have to make sure that I have this dissolve between reference frames box checked. And DEFlicker will dissolve between the two reference frames. Or if we had more keyframes set up, it would dissolve between them. So you see here, if I go to frame 31, it's now at a value that's between the reference frame 113, which was bright, and 75, which was darker. The max change percentage is set to 100% here, so it's at the maximum. If you want less deflickering, you can reduce that percentage. Let's take a quick look at another plugin in the suite, DEFlicker Auto Levels. We will just go over a quick tip for one thing you can use it for. We'll look at DEFlicker Auto Levels in more detail in another tutorial. Here we have the sequence of the Christmas tree, and you can see that there are some big flashes in the scene. If I want to see exactly where they are in order to just correct the range that they're in, I can use Auto Levels. I select Start Analysis. Once it's generated an analysis curve, I can open the curve editor to see it. You can see under Reference Channel Amount that it's obvious where the flashes are occurring. This is a way we can identify a specific range on a shot that needs DEFlicker Timelapse, so we don't have to process the whole clip if it doesn't need it, since it is time intensive. We could first use Auto Levels to identify a range and then use that information in the Time-Lapse plugin. Then turn Auto Levels off so it doesn't affect the color. There are a couple ways we can use the information to isolate and just affect the specific range. We could either animate the time window or the max change value. In the time window, we would set a keyframe to 0 before the first frame that the flash is happening, so there's no effect. And then on the next frame we would set another keyframe to whatever number we've established is good for our shot. In this case we'll use 4. Then we add another keyframe of 4 after the flashes to hold that setting. And then we add one more keyframe and make it 0 again to turn the effect off after the flashes. If we use the max change value, it's similar. We could make it 0 before the flashes, 100% during the flashes, and then back to 0 after the flashes. Here's the before and after. Look out for more on auto levels in another tutorial. This was a quick overview of DEFlicker Time-Lapse with a little tip on DEFlicker Auto Levels.